Hey y'all, welcome back to the cheat code. This is another freestyle. Um, I am deciding to make this video because I saw the news that Clive Davis passed away, and it was reminding me of the reading that I did. I did a live reading that is still on my page, and it was about the music industry. And there was some information that was coming out about the Grammys, and it had me thinking about um, a reading that I talked about in a different post, and it was basically me saying at that point that at the time when I received the information, I was a little too afraid to reveal it, just based on how Clive Davis was being portrayed, I guess, in the spiritual community, what people were tapping into in terms of his energy, and in general, what a lot of people thought about his connection to Whitney Houston and his possible on the spiritual side, energetic involvement in her passing, allegedly. And then also just the fact that in the 3D that he still carried on with his pre-Grammy party, and while Whitney lay deceased in the same building, in the hotel. And myself, as well as I think a great majority of people, thought that that was, a little inconsiderate to say the least, especially with the role that he played in her life for so many decades. So, what I was thinking about was also the fact that I'm not sure if I shared this story or not, but just like a really quick story time. So the first thing was that a few years back, I was doing a reading, and they, well, my spirit guides, when I say they wanted me really to talk about Clive Davis and some things surrounding and people connected to Clive Davis. And I was just a little, again, too fearful. So I didn't really want to address it, but I pulled a card. It had a description, and literally I heard the name Clive Davis in my head, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. So I didn't say it. And that was really in the beginning of me, using tarot, using any tools of divination and stuff like that, to provide messages and do readings and things like that, because I like to do things for the highest and greatest good of all parties involved when I talk about anyone. Um, and yeah, I didn't really want to do it, and it kept coming up. Um, I remember when I was trying to look up some information that was kind of closely related to Clive Davis, and a picture of him popped up from the 70s. If I can find it, I'll insert it. And he looked exactly like Al Pacino in the movie Devil's Advocate when he revealed himself as the devil. And it scared the crap out of me. Like, just the energy was just really dark. I just kept feeling like he has like generations of darkness. Again, allegedly, that he's connected to generations of darkness. And yeah, the last thing was just about Brandy and the note. Um, People might recall that Whitney Houston, there was a lot of, I guess, um, suspicion around, or curiosity, I should say, around the note that Whitney Houston gave to Brandy the night of the pre-Grammy party that Clive Davis was hosting. And Brandy just kind of looked at the note really quick, closed it, and that was it. And I didn't really think too much about it, but I know people kept bringing it up over the years, like, what did the note say? What did the note say? And eventually, and again, this was around the time that I kept getting Clive Davis. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just sit and try and tap into this energy and see, what I get. And what I mean by tap into the energy, it's not like literally meditating or doing anything, but just like think about it. What did I see? What did I feel? Maybe try and find the video and see like what I pick up energetically about it. And I remembered that I felt like it said something along the lines of, be like, remember what I told you, as if like, remember what I told you about him. I really don't even know why Clive Davis was sitting with Brandy and Monica. I still haven't even looked up that interview. I was just more focused on that note because that's what everybody was curious about. And I know that Brandy said that she would never reveal the contents of the note. And I don't know, just like an old saying that my mom has, that she said, no one ever goes to their grave with a secret. And I feel like at some point she'll reveal it, in one way or another, especially if it has anything to do with Clive Davis and he's now passed on. Um, and she did release a memoir recently, and she's still very young, so there's time for her to release another one. I wouldn't be surprised if Clive Davis has a second memoir, being that he was ill, and I didn't even know he was ill actually. But I wouldn't be surprised if other information comes out about him later on. But yeah, that's just some information that came to me that I felt like sharing. And that's pretty much it. So actually, there's one more thing. There's something that I don't know what possessed me to do this, but um this has actually happened to me before, and I'm going to do a story time about it. It has to do with numbers. And it's connected to Diddy. And of course, Diddy is connected to Clive Davis in many interesting ways. One of the most prominent ways was him getting his start with his own record label, through the funding of Clive Davis. And yeah, I had the same experience where when I was looking up when Clive Davis died, because I saw the news, I was trying to figure out, was it the 22nd or the 23rd? And it said the 22nd, and there's like a bunch of numbers like back to back. Like it spelled out June 22nd, 2026, and then it also spelled it out in numbers like oh 06 2, what was it? Yeah, oh 06 2 2, and then 2026. And I'm like, why did they do that? And then it showed his date of birth and all these things. Like it was just numbers back to back to back to back. And I've had that instance before, but I'll get to that story another time. I just felt the urge to look up the number 94 as an angel number. And the first thing that popped up that was highlighted, it says, it represents a current cycle in your life is concluding, so you can build a stronger, more purposeful foundation. And I remember also feeling like, and I don't think I'm the only person who shared this sentiment, or I guess maybe energy, but I don't feel, and I guess it has come to pass that he did not pay for any of his sins that the public has accused him of, and this is again alleged, in his lifetime. I did not believe that whatever he was accused of, anything, any wrongdoings, that he would reap that in this lifetime. I think that's something that he's going to have to pay for in his afterlife. And there's a gentleman by the name of Cash Peters. I reference him often because I watch a lot of his content. And basically, he does something that's called crossover pictures. So he picks up on energy of people after they pass to when they join the universal consciousness, or when they join God or heaven, or however you want to refer to it. And I'm really interested in whether or not he's going to do any pictures about him, because he does them as drawings from the energy that he picks up. And basically just trying to find out if he picks up similar energy, if maybe he has any sort of contemplative energy in the in between, so to speak, where he is going to be in any sort of reflective energy of the decisions that he's made, or if anything will come out. He hasn't really ever revealed any sort of negative energy whenever someone passes away. It's usually sort of regretful, remorseful, shameful, just reluctant to move on. But yeah, I don't think that he would probably be picking up on the sort of energy where, he's going to have a tough time in the afterlife. Because one thing that he did say is that he did a reading on it, whether you're an atheist or whether you believe in God or whatever you believe in, we all join this universal consciousness that people refer to as God. So, yeah, I guess we just play the role that we're supposed to play in this incarnation, and then we move on. But like I said, for me personally, I was feeling a lot of heavy, dark energy from him when I saw that photo. And then even afterwards, that it just seems like it's something that's generational. So I guess we will see. Until next time, it's the cheat code.